Love the giver more than the gift. Brigham Young. Hello, friends, and welcome to the final episode of Podnuts Pro for the year 2021. I am your host, Marvin Bee. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the final Wednesday before Christmas, and we all go home and celebrate, open up presents, and enjoy time with our family and friends. We have one last show here. I know that most shows usually will do something of a year in review and talk about themselves and all of that stuff. Not here at Podnuts Pro. We will be joined by guests and friends. We will chat. We will reminisce, share stories. We may talk a little tech because that's what this show is about. Podnuts Pro, your podcast for business IT support. And tonight is probably one of those nights where we won't help you run your business better, smarter, or faster. But we might. You never know. So thank you for joining us. We are going to be having, as I said, friends come on. We're going to have a little music here, and we're going to allow adult beverages. So here in Florida, normally I would give you a weather report, and that will be no different because tonight, as we started the show, it was getting a bit nippy. And in fact, on the commute from the house to the office, I had to turn on the heat. Ladies and gentlemen, it is right now 64 degrees and clear, although it's a real feel of 66. But by the time I head home, I may need to grab a jacket. That is how the day is going today. So I see people already jumping into the green room. So let us go ahead and bring them in and get on with the show first. You know them, you love them. Well, you love them if they're not winning all the time and traveling. Jason Miller and his lovely wife, Diva.
What's going on?
How are you guys?
Doing good. How about you, Marv?
I'm good. You're not wearing the suit.
No. I did the video in the suit. So
you look like you did a whole party day in the suit.
Oh yeah, we did. We had a party at the office. You know, we call it Merry Munchie Day. So everybody brings food and we munch.
Merry Munchie Day. That works out well. So is that something that you do for the staff, or does everybody bring stuff like a potluck, or how does that work?
No, everybody pretty much brings stuff. It's just kind of everybody brings something. And we had a whole, 2 tables full of food. Everybody eat all day and, no dinner that night. So it's awesome.
All right. Well, also in the green room waiting, I don't know how they celebrate Christmas up in his part of the world, but I'm talking about my good friend from the north. He is the owner of Fast Computers, Chad Kempt. Chad, how are you, sir?
How about that, eh? I'm doing great, Marvin. Thanks.
And broadcasting from the castle, I see.
Yes, we just have everyone come over to the house, and we have a great time. That's what we do up here for Christmas.
All right. How's that moat coming around the house?
Oh, the moat's wonderful. Better than I would like it. Better than I would like it.
You need any little gators to fill it?
I was going to mention that, just send me, when your pet gator has some offspring, just, maybe ship me a crate or whatever they come in, whatever quantity you ship in usually.
Well, we'll see how big the litter is this year. And because, got to attack a Wendy's at some point down the road.
Well, I don't want to leave you unarmed. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So,
All right. And we've got one other person in the green room that'll help us fill out the quad box. She is the princess of the channel, the queen of Pennsylvania. I was going to say Philadelphia, but I don't think she's near there. She's up near the chocolatey area. And we are talking about the owner CEO of Third Element Consulting, Miss Dawn Sizer. Dawn, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. Look at you with your big old honking turtleneck there.
It is not warm where I am.
Yeah. Is it 64 degrees?
No, I don't know. It was like frigid earlier. I actually have to look to see just how cold it really is. Let's see. It is 30 degrees right now. Yeah.
30 degrees. That's probably Fahrenheit. Chad, is yours Fahrenheit or
yeah,
Celsius?
I switched it out of consideration for my friends. Fahrenheit.
Okay. So 26 degrees, and the Miller's 36 degrees. All right.
This is t-shirt weather, guys. That's what we got going on here.
No.
No, I was kind of I got in the car, I pulled out of the driveway, and I was like, ooh, flip that air real quick.
That's kind of crazy. I haven't even put on a jacket yet this year.
Yeah.
I had to pull out sweatshirts, sweaters, because I was in the Georgia mountains 2 weekends ago.
Mm.
That sounds cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So guys, how are we doing coming up on the end of the year? Millers, I know how you're doing. You just freaking came from Vegas.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Rachel did most of the gambling, so she did most of the winning. So I'm not good at gambling, so I kind of put my $20 here, $20 there, and give it up, and I just let her win. So.
But we got to drive exotic cars, which was a whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that was the fun part.
So when you say exotic, meaning foreign or racing?
Well,
Or
I
both.
got to drive a Lamborghini Gallardo and a
Okay.
Porsche GT4.
And I got
All
to
right.
drive a Lamborghini Huracan and a Corvette C8. And it was at Speed Vegas. It's like a road course racetrack. You have an instructor in the car, and they push you very hard to make sure you're putting the pedal to the floor and keeping those cars, well over 100 miles an hour.
So I assume it's an open track.
Oh yeah, you can
Mhm.
pass and everything. I mean, they wouldn't let you pass unless they're allowing you to. But I mean, it was awesome. So
Nice.
that's a trip we won. Since you're talking about winning things.
Yeah.
So
As you normally do.
yeah.
I don't know where my Vegas trip got lost in the mail. I sell intermedia too.
Yeah. You gotta sell a lot of phones, I guess, and you had to enter the stuff in the little form or whatever. So
Well, I'm trying, but Freedom Voice has been a pain in the butt this past week. I actually went to go port an order, and now part of it's probably my fault.
Mhm.
I did not do a check to make sure that the numbers were unlocked.
mm-hmm.
And
do that.
calling them, of course, the day to call them is today, which is the second day of their internal server issue, where some phones work, some phones don't.
Oh, is it still
And-
going on?
Their
Yeah, that's
bright,
having issues today.
their bright idea to fix it is, well, try unplugging them and then plugging them back in. That seems to work.
Oh yeah,
And I
that's
said,
awesome.
you got to do something better than that. I've already had my people do that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can reset your whole network. I said, no, that's not it either.
Yeah. I went to their website yesterday and it said domain names expired, and it had a park page, and I'm like, they're owned by GoDaddy, a domain company. It's kind of funny, that their domain's expired. But anyways, I just had a laugh when I saw that. And of course, customers' phones weren't working, so that wasn't funny.
So that is my impetus to get my last 3 customers away from GoDaddy. Sorry for away from Freedom Voice.
Yeah.
But GoDaddy too, because I'm moving anybody with a domain there as well. So if any of you are GoDaddy lovers or Freedom Voice lovers, sorry.
Used to be, but now they've kind of lost their way, and they're yeah, we only have what 20-ish people left on there. We've moved probably 90% of our people over. So
Yeah. So Don, Chad, did either of you have the lovely phone issues that we've been having the last couple of weeks?
Not the last couple of weeks. We had issues earlier when a lot of the DDoS attacks were going on and stuff like that. But since then, it's been pretty steady.
All right. Are you willing to say who you sell your phones through?
We use Greenlink currently.
Okay.
We
All right.
we have
Chad,
no
what's up in
problems.
Canada?
No problems. We have a lot of our customers are on. It used to be called Versature. It was a Canadian company. It got bought by an American company called Net2Phone. I don't know if you guys know who they are. And so this like Versature's department, if you want to call it, it's still like they're still all the same staff and they're still out of Canada and everything. Anyway, it's been fine. We didn't have any of the issues, so that was a bonus. And then for customers that have more unique circumstances, I partner with a friend of mine, Marvin. I think you know Sean Jennings from CIM Solutions.
Yeah.
He does 3CX, and we basically work with him on those. And if they're a little bit more custom, a little more complex. Unfortunately, we got hit with the VoIP.ms issues that were happening, and that was rather unfortunate. But we're through it now. It seems to be better. So,
All right. So anything we want to talk about? I could play Christmas music in the background, but that may get in the way of us chatting. I don't see any drinks in anybody's hands.
I mean, I can pretend if you like. Here we go. Drinking some water, being healthy.
Starting off with tea.
we can talk if you want to talk fun stuff. We have, and by fun I mean not fun at all. The supply chain issue that plagued 2021. We somehow hit our revenue target for the year. But it was a joke, and now it's not becoming a joke. My 2022 goal is to figure out what projects I was going to do in 2023 and get them all on the books in order. Some of the Meraki APs have a 250-day lead time.
wow.
We have servers that are 6-7 months out. I've still got back orders from May on some Thunderbolt-related products of this year. And since everything is, quote-unquote, getting worse, we'll avoid the whole discussion of things that doesn't exist in the US anymore, but seems to be coming back here with a vengeance. But whatever's causing the supply chain disruptions at this point, they seem to be getting worse. So I'm just curious how everyone else is handling that. We've always carried stock. We're now ordering 6 months out for our stock. But for special projects, it's been a little trickier. I'm not stocking $100,000 clusters, you know what I mean? Sands and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we've had the same issues. We had 160 APs on order for a project we're doing, and put those on order in May. And the guy emailed me like literally, I don't know what, last week or week before, saying, "Hey, the first 80 or this vendor had the 80 of them, and another vendor had 80 of them, but they said, hey, we got these 80 in stock. You want me to ship them?" I was like, well, I had to go a different route and get other APs because they couldn't wait no longer. So I said, you can go ahead and cancel that order. But I was like half tempted to be like, hey, yeah, just send those on eBay. They go, but I didn't want to be that way. So, but it's hard to get access points, networking equipment. We do stock stuff when we can get it is the problem. So
those 80 APs, maybe you should have brought them in for the next project, so you're not waiting 7 months.
Yeah, I thought about it, but that's like 15 grand in APs or something. So I mean, it's
Were they ubiquity? Because people are looking for them. You could have resold them.
Yeah. I know
They
you
were
could.
U6LRs.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
It's the Wi-Fi 6 access points AX. So newest greatest technology. Yeah. So either way, we had those on order. We still have. I don't guess we ever canceled our order with the other one. So.
For
comparison,
the Merakis that are at 250 days are the MR86s. They're 1,800 in AP. The US 1776 something. So I mean, but what do you do? The other problem with Meraki and Fortinet, which are the two vendors we deal with, is pretty much everything has to be a bid, or you're just overpaying horribly. And so everything has to be tied to a customer. And so trying to order it in advance, it's possible to do if you're willing to pay more for service, but to get the best price, it's just not possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's little things too. Like we had one order, the SFP modules, the fiber modules for the switches. We had everything else, just not those.
Can get that, yeah. Yeah.
So
we've been marking everything ship complete though, to avoid getting, because the customer refuses to pay the invoice because they don't have the whole order kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, but setting expectations. So I guess that was my thing for 2022, rather than sitting around and going, oh, hey, surprise, surprise, it's 7 months. We're looking at first quarter. We're going to be talking about, third, fourth quarter. And then once summer rolls around, we're talking 2023. That's my plan.
Yeah. It's hard for us to plan like that because, like, literally, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, a guy goes, hey, I'm moving buildings. I need it cabled. I need, a couple access points, switch, routers, firewalls, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, let me get this ordered. And luckily we had stock, so we could just go slide that in, have our cabling guys come in and do it. But, you can't really, for us, it's harder to plan that type of thing because it's not like large projects. It's all the little, I need new APs, need a moving or that stuff is what gets
you can
us.
stock for that. That's what you can stock for. It's when they come in, when you have a refresh, you got 5-year-old, I don't know whether you refresh, right? You got 5-year-old servers that are going to be 5 years old in 2023 while we're selling the new one now in 2022. We're not waiting. Don, are you finding the same sort of thing?
Yes and no. We've been sitting, I literally have my own little dragon hoard of stuff because
I love it.
That's what you have to do.
Yep.
And I actually have pictures of us sitting on literal pallets of stuff because that's what you have to do at this point. We're in the same boat. I mean, it's just a matter of like figuring out when you think things are available. We actually have a lady that does nothing more than scour every available piece of equipment that she can find and bring it in. I mean, that's what you have to do.
We've actually partnered with I wouldn't really call it a partnership, but another guy I think you might know, Tony Marv. He's up at PTC Computers up in Whitby, and he's somewhat local to me, like 2 hours away. And so we try to offset each other. So I'll stock a whole bunch of E-series Lenovo laptops. He'll have the T-series. I'll have the black and white Xerox units. He'll have the color ones. And then we'll bring in large quantities and get bids for bringing in stock. And then when one of us needs something. In fact, just yesterday, he drop shipped a Lenovo T24i to one of my customers. I had the tiny in one monitors. He has the T24i's. And that way, I mean, you bring in a couple 100,000 in inventory. I mean, how far do you want to take it, right? At some point, you got to draw some kind of line. So this has been a way where we've been able to effectively double our inventory without doubling our inventory.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's the way to do it. And I stocked up on as many HP computers as I could last year so that I could sell them this year. I'm finally down in stock, but now it's finding ruckus access points. I've got a company that's moving. They hope to be in their new building by April. I ordered their stuff back at the end of August. Still hasn't shipped. Estimated ETA in stock is April 30th. So I just purchased those were ruckus Wi-Fi 6. So I just purchased every ART720, the Wi-Fi 5 series that I could find, surplus. So I'm going to be putting in something that I don't like to do, but I'm going to be putting in used access points.
We don't sell them, but the Cisco ASAs, some of those are on back order until July right now. And it's not getting better. It's going to get worse. So, I mean, at some point it will get better, but I think, I don't look at this as being a negative thing. Like I said, we beat our revenue target for 2021, sorry. So obviously we're doing something right, but instead of looking at it and just being mad, I'm trying to look at it and how we can be positive about it. And that's where we're going to lock in those deals. Try to lock, like you said, Jason, we can't lock in everything because you don't know who's your next new, startup or your next new customer, right? I get it. But like, Marvin, you said, you got some used stuff you can put in as a Band-Aid. We still stock like Fortinet APs and Forti switches and FortiGates. We stock that because we do that as a service. Any of the stuff that's as a service, I have to have spares anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting game. I feel like we've moved from being technicians with the pocket protector and the soldering iron to being business technologist discussion type of thing.
We're
to now
project managers.
Oh, now we're logistics managers. I think that's the new game, or at least you need to hire one.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the positive, and we heard Jason talk about they had their Christmas party in their house, and so I assume with your revenue goals, Chad, you were able to do something. But Don, did you do anything nice and special for the employees?
Video, Marv.
That's you didn't just do that just for me and then have a separate party later.
No, that was the actual party.
Okay, all right, that was nice. Now, was it as good as previous parties? Because I have to assume nobody did a major party in 2020, right?
So we were still in the office in 2020, so we still had a party. but I think this year's was better. There's a lot more people, a lot more food. We did a huge charcuterie spread. So we redid our kitchen a couple years ago, and then my son literally drove through it. Long story short, we had to redo it twice. It was great. So 18-foot island, half the island, we had a charcuterie spread on it. It was delicious.
Nice.
I know I've heard part of the story. Can you,
Yeah.
you want to share the rest of the story?
So the way that our kitchen backs up to the garage, like the garage shares a wall with the kitchen. New driver drove through the garage into the brand new kitchen, like literally brand new kitchen.
Don, I got to ask you a question. Was there anything where you just finished the kitchen and you were like, damn it, I wish I would have moved this 2 inches this way or that way, and you were able to fix it? Was there an upside?
So the upside was that the tile had not been put in on the wall yet.
Okay. I'm just looking over at my pantry and I'm like, if I could have moved it 2 inches because it touches the oven door when the hidden pantry door opens. But no, that's not a lot of upside when relative or not drives through your house. But yeah. I try to be the glass half full kind of guy,
Well, it sounds like she's got your guy if you need something moved 2 inches. So
yeah, exactly.
I was like, yeah, just send him up here.
Now, Don, if I remember, so now we should probably tell everybody, you mentioned this kitchen garage as it's a house, but your business is in a historic house.
It is not the same house, or I would have murdered my child.
Now, did you have to do anything special because it was a historic house? Is it on the registry? And did you have to go through special?
The actual business. So my house is the one that kid drove through. It's 1970s. Nobody cares about that. The business we bought in a downtown historic district. The original building was 1790. The rest of it is 1810. I literally have a 9-foot fireplace in the kitchen area. We have 4 other fireplaces in the building. All of them work. It's a cool building. So yes, there's a lot of things. So there's the Historic Architectural Review Board. Anytime you want to make a change to the building, front facing, anything that faces the street. Like if we want to paint the building, if we need to get a new roof, I want to put a new front door in, anything like that, I actually have to get permission to do it. It has to be historically accurate because we are on the National Register of Historical Places.
That's really cool.
All right. And we actually have a question from the chat. Did you have the original contractor do it the second time?
I totally did. And the funnier part of that was the contractor was one of our clients previously in another life. So we do a lot of work for municipal government and police departments. And he was previously a police officer who's now a contractor. So not only did we have the contractor fix it after it had been broken, but you also had a cop ribbing my kid, which was amazing. I could not have done it better. So it worked out really well.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. Now, Chad, I assume you did something very grand for your staff?
No. Don't forget, like everyone's still working from home, and restaurants are like half capacity, and we have like all the restrictions and everything in place. It's frowned upon to do like a big event. There are some people doing it. My B&I, they weren't allowed to do anything on the books, but some of them got together or whatever. We have a 2-year-old, so I live in a forest. Like I have a moat and I live in a forest. I don't really like going near people anyway. I love interacting with you guys like this. This is great. You can cough all over, sneeze if you like. It doesn't bother me at all. Just wipe your webcam after. But joking aside, no, you know what? I always get the guys a little, not the guys and the girls actually. I always get everybody a little something. And we do some stuff like that. But in the past, we used to do the last year before 2020, so 2019, we booked a big section of this fancy restaurant near here, and everyone sat and heckled the people in the kitchen. Because we were like at the window for the kitchen. And so, in the future, I'm sure we'll do something like that. But yeah, right now, I wish the one guy moved. It was a crazy time of the year to move, but my one employee, he moved, and he says he was thinking about picking up a career as a painter. And then he painted, and then, like, it was a joke. He painted his old house, then they moved, then he had to paint the whole new house. And I don't know. I was like, here's a number for somebody you can call, but he said, no, he's doing himself. So, okay, problem.
All right.
So, yeah.
I'm curious, Chad. Do you have a moat monster to go with the moat?
Well, no. So that's the thing. I'm waiting on Marvin to send me my alligator shipment. He's going to send me fresh oranges and alligators in the spring, I think is when that is. But in the meantime, there's me.
I can send you iguanas when they freeze too. I can.
Yeah, no, but it's although it's amazing. I have a 12-foot wide entrance to my property. There's no other entrance, and there's giant no trespassing signs, and it's all forested. Yet somehow people still manage to come down the driveway accidentally. It's very strange. Yes, I informed them kindly that they are to not be there, and they leave. But no, they want to come out and illegally hunt and without permission and stuff like that. So I got it's all forested deer come up to the house and stuff. It's kind of nice. I like it. This was the dream, and I'm living it.
All right, guys, I got to try to keep this moving along. We actually have several groups of people coming in. So let me ask you guys to go around the horn and give us one great thing that you are happy for this year, whether it be that it's over, could be for the business, could be personal, but something to celebrate here as we end out 2021. Millers? And don't say Vegas.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm very thankful for just a great year. I mean, this is our greatest year so far as revenue and stuff like that, and great team we have at our office. Very thankful for that. Everybody does a great job, and two, being on a great podcast, that always helps too, right? So it's awesome. But no, I had a great time. Have no complaints for 2021. Hopefully, 2022 will be better. So,
all right, Don.
I'm going to say the staff, man. We have a great crew right now. I mean, we've had some turnover from people, moving around through the channel and stuff like that. And we picked up some really phenomenal folks this year, and we have a strong, strong team. So I am incredibly impressed and proud of the people that we have.
All right. And Mr. Chad.
Well, it's health and happiness. You can't buy health. You can make all the money in the world, but you can't buy that. So my family's doing well, and my friends are doing well, and so that's all I can really ask for. My team, obviously, you're only as strong as the weakest link. So I'm thankful that I got a good team in place, and business is doing well. And yeah, like Jason said, 2022 it'll definitely be interesting, and we'll aim for the sky.
All right. Yeah. Well, as for me and my business, I need to be happy for me, just simply staying healthy and being around to do everything. Of course, I have to thank the wife for holding things down here in the fort. And as we exit 2021 and enter 22, it will be 20 years that her and I have been married. She has not kicked me out yet. She has survived. She puts up with a lot. So there will be a lot to be thankful for on the family side of things. The business just trucks along. We make enough money. She got her addition to the pool, and some rooms redone. And next year she'll get even more, I'm sure. All right. So I don't know if you guys had planned to hang around into group 2, but you're welcome to. I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to do another video that were submitted by listeners and guests alike. And I do have to say, folks, this has been a fantastic year for the podcast. This will be my 5th year finishing up the podcast, over 300 shows, and it has been much better than I ever imagined. Didn't think I would actually go 5 years, but I did. And with a few changes, we might see if we can make it another 5. And with that, stay with me through the break, and we will continue more on the 2021 Holiday Podcast.
Hey there, Marvin and the Podnuts Pro audience. Dave Sobel here, host of the Business of Tech podcast. Hope you and yours have a great holiday and a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Marvin. Happy holidays from the ASCAP group. We really appreciate you and obviously all the great stuff you do with Podnuts podcast.
happy holidays from the ASCAP group.
Woo! I'm Diana Giles with Skyline IT Management. To all the other IT owners out there and the other listeners of Marvin's podcast, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous and happy New Year.
Unbound Digital would like to wish the podcast community a happy holidays.
And a very prosperous 2022.
Happy holidays!
All right, we have moved into our second group session of the holiday podcast.
I think I got shorter.
Yeah, you did. I was going to say something's wrong with that, and you shrunk again. So I removed Chad from the chat or from the group. He stepped away, and what I'm going to do is equalize out the screen by bringing in the newest darling of the channel. She is now an international podcast star. We are talking about Diana Giles with Skyline IT Management.
Hey guys,
Giles, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. How are you? How are you of international fame now?
I don't know about that, but happy to see all of you guys.
All right. Do you know? I know you know the Millers. Do you know Don Sizer from Third Element Consulting?
Yes, we've been on some ASCII calls together. So.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. All right. So, Dan, I think you were in the green room listening to us. Anything to add to our discussion from earlier?
Let's see. I guess the latest thing I was thinking about was what I was thankful for. And that was that I was exposed to COVID last week and didn't get it. So we have family, in town and all kinds of things going on, of course, like a lot of other people do. So I think that was what I was most thankful for. I had a client that exposed me, found out a couple of days later. So
Those darn clients.
Yeah.
All right. Giles, do you have your external speakers going there? Because I think we're hearing an echo.
Okay, let me work on that.
Have you adjust. And meanwhile, folks, I have with me my second drink of the evening, a little Borden eggnog that I will be pouring. And this is some sort of mystery Kahlua that the wife gave me before I left the house. And this is going to be going into a tech marketing engine cup because I don't have anything great here at the office. But the tech marketing engine was my favorite vendor gift from the TechCon Unplugged. So that will be my beverage. I still don't see any of you drinking. What's going on here? Dawn, you said you would be.
Yeah. So I was a little sick earlier this week, so I've kind of decided to not do that tonight.
All right. As I stir.
Can we test? Is it better?
That's it. That sounded good right there.
Okay. Good. I have a beverage.
You have a beverage?
Uh-huh.
What do you have?
There we go. I have a Christmas Negroni.
A Christmas what?
Negroni.
Can you spell that, please?
It's Campari and vermouth and rye.
Ooh.
It's great spelling.
All right.
Apparently you haven't heard of that, Marvin.
No, I've not. I'm normally a basic beer kind of guy. My palate runs towards Sam Adams and whatever's in that family. And we have a question from the chat. No Chris, no whiskey. That probably wasn't for me. That was probably for you, Don.
No, there's no whiskey in this tonight. No. Or scotch or rum or anything good.
All right. So I see another member of our second group has joined us in the green room. I will bring her to the stage. So she used to be a Florida gal. She has moved from, Minnesota to Florida to Vegas to somewhere and back to Florida. and talking about Call That Girl, Lisa Hendrickson. Lisa, how are you?
Hey guys,
Why are you
I'm
laughing?
good, and I'm still in Florida.
You're still in Florida.
Yeah, 2 years now. I haven't moved.
All right. Is that a record for being in the state of Florida?
Yes, and it's a record. I was in Vegas 3 years, so you know.
Okay.
Echo.
All right,
Yeah,
Don, I know you need to. Don, I know you need to leave, so we'll go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you very much for
Bye, everybody.
hopping
Merry
on.
Christmas.
All right, Lisa, I'm sorry. You said what?
Okay.
Your time in Vegas was how long?
2 years. I was in Vegas 3 years, so I've been here 2.
Okay.
And finally getting the feel of everything. It took a while, you know. You move somewhere and you finally want to make it a community. So I'm finally in a community.
Okay, and for the record, you're on the west coast of Florida.
Yes, Gulf side, down in Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah. Have you been over here lately?
Yeah, I drive through a lot.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
right on
normally-
Tamiami.
Yeah, I don't stop.
No. I don't know how you can go without stopping. There's about 50 stoplights in this town.
Yeah, I stay on 75 and head on up to Tampa.
Yeah.
All right. And before we get going here, I see another person has jumped in the chat. And oh my goodness, he has the wall of, my goodness, you know him as the Flute Master. He basically is the trainer of cable testing for the last 20 years. Mike Panaki from Network Protocol Specialists. Mike, how are you?
Good. How are you, Marvin?
I'm good. Are those all flukes behind you? That's the first question I need to ask.
Those are all flukes behind me. Yes, we just got done doing a class recently, so I still have those set up. We've got it set up so people can remote into those during class and drive them through their web browser. So that way they get that hands-on experience without actually having to have an analyzer sit right in front of them.
Okay, sweet. All right, so let me go back and ask the two newest people in here. Lisa, I'll start with you. How was your 2021?
Pretty good. I think I'm actually going to be up a little bit from last year. And 2020, I was up from 19, so I did well in the pandemic. So I should do good again. And hoping in 2022, I can do better even. I've worked on a lot of business process changes. I think every year I tend to make a few more changes based on the failures of the last year I found. So every year I fine tune a little bit here. Things I will say no to, that's become real important to me. Saying no is very important, like most important thing. Or I turn it into a yes, but it's on mine, how I want to run it this time. I used to let clients run the show a lot, and I don't do that anymore. So it makes it a lot easier.
All right, Lisa is known as the Outlook expert in the area and channel. You've added some additional services to that, not just your training and 365 migration and Google fixes, right?
Well, I kind of started doing a lot more 365 work this year, a lot more, like with the Teams and the SharePoint. And a lot of my calls start off as, we have a big OneDrive problem. And then I go immediately, you have a home account, personal, business, all mixed up. So I end up reconfiguring all of that, flipping them to Teams, setting up their Teams, teaching them how to do it. And that's a good 2 or 3 hour call. So that's a lot of my work I do now. And still do a lot of Outlook work too, but I added on the training, and that's going a little slow, but I'm not in a hurry because I still enjoy what I do now. So I'm just slowly blending it in.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And Mike, obviously you still doing the training, did a class, you said. How are things for you guys?
You know, it's been an interesting couple of years. The training that we've done for the last 11 years has all been either on site or a hotel room or out at a site. And so a couple of years ago, prior to the pandemic, I had started working on how could we offer this remotely. So when the pandemic hit, we were ready to start offering it remotely. One of the challenges that we've run into is getting people to buy into doing online training. And it's been, and what's interesting is just last week, I had somebody that said, absolutely not. You have to come on site. You have to do the training in person. And I said, I'll tell you what, give me half an hour. We'll set up a Zoom. I'll set it up so you can remote into one of these testers. And if I can't convince you in half an hour that this is better than doing the in-person, then I will see what I can do about coming out. So within 5 minutes of this person clicking on the analyzer remotely, he said, okay, I'm sold. It's a done deal. He said, you mean we don't have to bring all of our people from all of our different branches into one location, take them all out of the field at the same time, do all this? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, that's great. So we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. It's been a different year in that Uta, who's worked with me she and I've worked together for 20 years, got sick in September and has been out sick since then. And so she just let me know that she's retiring at the end of this year. So, it's hard losing a person that, has been my business partner really for the last 20, at least 12 years in this business. And, we worked together for a long time. So things are, staff-wise are contracting a little bit, which I found it's given me an opportunity to go through and automate some things. I've gotten to go back in and write some VBA scripts to, speed up. One of the things we do is we create a merge document that creates the certificates for everyone after class. And the way that Uta had been doing it is, print current page, print it to a PDF, and, 15, 20 minutes of looking up how to do that with a script. I wrote a macro that does the whole thing in a couple minutes.
Nice.
So it's given me an opportunity to go back and implement some of my programming skills and create massive spreadsheets right now that, put everything in the formats that I needed in. So going through and automating things. So, I'm looking forward to 2022 and see how things go there.
Yep. Nothing like losing a key member of your staff to force you to innovate and make things work.
Well, and just in the way she'd always done things, she always did things on paper. And because she ran the whole registration part of the business, that worked for her. But when somebody ends up in the hospital and you can't see them for a month and everything they were doing was on paper, I called her husband and said, I need to come down to her office and at her home office and take everything off her desk and come back and start putting together, going through QuickBooks, see who paid, and, put everything together so that we could continue doing what we need to do.
That is something. Well, we wish her the best. And obviously, since she feels it's time to retire, we wish her happiness in retirement. And the joy of, does that mean that you're going back to being a solopreneur?
Pretty much, my wife and I.
Okay.
My wife has begrudgingly come along, and she is a puzzle solver, and so it's like we've been doing all this remodeling, and I had bought 160 feet of trim for around the house, and I measured it all out, and I said, "Hey, I need you to help me with this," and she goes, "Oh, come on, you're just teasing me." I said, "No, well, I want to reduce the amount of waste that I have. So I want to make sure I get the right cuts out of every piece," and she can't resist that. So she grabbed onto that, and I've ended up with like 2-inch pieces of scrap out of each one. So we work very, very well together. And she is much like Uta in that she is very structured and organized, and I am not. But
all right. So Miller's, is that a child or an animal that's rummaging around behind you?
Behind me?
No, the Millers.
The
I'm
dog.
sorry.
The
That's
dog.
the dog? Okay.
Oh, can you hear?
Oh, of course.
Oh, she's sleeping. So.
She's either stomping or snoring or something. I couldn't figure out which one.
All
right, so let me ask a holiday festive question now and try to stay away from tech. And I'll start with Giles and then Lisa. So tell me, what are some of the fun holiday traditions that you guys have enjoyed?
Well, we tend to do more on Christmas Eve with our family. That I kind of married into that. My family, Christmas Day was always kind of a bigger deal, but with my husband's family, it's Christmas Eve. So we'll go to church and then we will go eat, and then we'll come back to our house and open a bunch of gifts. And it worked out well because my son that's married, his wife, my daughter-in-law, her family, their biggest kind of celebration is Christmas Day. So it really worked out. So we don't have to, there's not too much, tugging back and forth and trying to get everybody to be able to spend time with, the family they want to be with at the time they want to be with them. But this year, my brother and his family are going to be up, and my parents. And so we're going to have a lot of stuff going on here on Christmas Eve, but that's kind of our traditions. They're kind of just the normal traditions as far as, there's not anything, now that our kids are grown and we don't do some of the Santa things. It's kind of just your standard traditions.
All right. Yeah. Seems as though as soon as the kids are gone, those things can stop, right? All right.
Yeah, we're not putting things together at 2 a.m. anymore.
Nice. Lisa, how about you?
I'm making new traditions this year down here in Florida. I've been finding my community. We're doing a lot of parties. So I call it this is our hurricane party crew for when we have one next summer. But I haven't been home in a couple of years because of COVID. So last year I didn't do anything. And this year I've just got invited to a lot of parties, and I was happy about that. Like, because new friends here and everything. So took a while.
Nothing like a Florida party in winter.
Yeah.
And the Millers now, have you guys moved into the big house yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we moved in here a long time ago. So
okay. Any new traditions being in the new house?
I don't know what we doing.
I have a pretty tree that matches all my teal stuff, and then the kids have their tree.
Yeah.
So
the kids have their own separate tree.
yes, with all of their ornaments on it.
Is that for decoration purposes so they don't mess up your tree?
Yes.
Well, she has to have the pretty, perfect-looking teal tree that matches all the rest of the teal in the house. And then, kids make ornaments in school and everything else, and from when they're little and all that stuff. So then you have the traditional, all the kids' ornaments tree, so and family ornaments. So.
And never shall they touch the professional tree with the real ornaments?
No.
Nah. No, they don't get to touch the pretty tree. So.
No, the pretty tree.
Pretty tree's downstairs in the formal living room. And then upstairs we have we call it the game room with all the game systems, and all it's decorated in Star Wars and Nintendo stuff and all that stuff. But anyways, that's where the less formal tree is with all the kids' ornaments. So that's where they hang out a lot. So.
All right. I don't think I saw a picture of the big tree. First of all, how big is it?
It's just 7.5 foot.
Oh, I thought it'd be like a 12-foot tree.
No, I only have 9-foot ceilings, so I couldn't get too big.
What?
So
that house looked like it would have 12-foot ceilings on all 3 floors, and then maybe a 10-foot ceiling in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's 9-foot ceilings everywhere. So.
All right. And Mike, I understand you've got some visitors this Christmas. So is that usual for you or unusual?
Well, we've got my kids are going to be coming over. So I've got a son that graduated from Washington State University this year that's working over in Pullman at an accounting firm. And, it's all trying to work out schedules with everyone, because now that you start getting girlfriends and boyfriends and you get all those things. We've got my kids coming over on Christmas Eve morning. We're doing Christmas Eve morning with them. And then my wife's son's coming over, and he's the one that said, I just want to sit around and drink French 75s and watch Paul Blart. So it's like, okay, we can certainly do that all morning.
Paul Blart Mall Cop or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
That's not a Christmas movie, is it?
It is actually a Thanksgiving movie about, they're getting ready for Christmas. we've always associated with Christmas. We watched the definitive Christmas movie the other night, and that's Die Hard. And
there you go.
That's,
there you go.
Yeah.
It's usually the music I play before the holiday party, but I, tricked it up a little this year.
No, our favorite, and actually we got to go see it in the theater a couple of years ago, was White Christmas. So we always make sure, we watch White Christmas. We watch.
Wait a minute. It was in a, you're talking about White Christmas with Bing Crosby?
Yes. And Danny Kaye.
Yeah. And that was played live. It was in a big theater.
The theaters here were going through and playing some of the classic movies like that in the theater. So it was fun to go sit in the actual theater and get to see that.
Nice.
I saw that movie last year for the first time.
Really?
I had never seen it, and my daughter-in-law said it was one of her favorite movies, and so one night over Christmas break I watched it.
Those movies are fantastic. White Christmas, Holiday Inn. It's a Wonderful Life.
Desk Set is another good one with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. That's one that we watch. And we've watched Christmas Vacation twice. We both were tired from working on the house, so we fell asleep at the beginning, woke up at the end. But you got to watch that a couple of times.
I've never seen those all the way through. It was running at the cabin. There was a whole series of movies at the cabin, and Vacation, and I guess there was a Vacation 2 that was up there.
European Vacation.
Yeah, and I didn't care for either of them. And of course, Home Alone, those movies I didn't like, and didn't watch. Now sometimes I'll watch A Christmas Story, but I'm not big on the Christmas movies. Now the Millers? You guys probably still big on some movies, right?
Yeah, I mean, we usually end up watching The Christmas Story and the Vacations and all that good stuff. I mean, it's not like we sit down specifically to watch the movies or anything like that on Christmas. We're usually busy with family and stuff. So.
Do you guys like the movie The Millers?
We are the Millers.
We are the Millers. Yeah. Well, I've seen that. It's a good movie. So.
The boys have been watching a lot of Christmas movies at my mom's house since they're out of school. Give them something to do during the day.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about going to see Spider-Man on Christmas Day. So,
Spider-Man.
Everybody I know who's seen it loves it.
Matrix 4 is coming out Christmas Day, isn't it?
Ooh.
Yeah, but we can get that on HBO Max. You can stream that, Matrix 4.
It's out today.
Yeah, it's out today on HBO Max.
It's out today?
Yeah, if you have HBO Max subscription, you can watch it.
That's a big screen kind of movie, though. That is a big screen kind of movie. I don't have, trying to be delicate because I know the wife will watch this back someday because she wants an 80-inch screen, which we're not getting.
Why not?
It's might be available in 2022. You never know.
The 80-inch?
She wants.
Get her what she wants.
Yeah, you need the 80-inch beside the pool that you just redid. You need the pool house, and then you need the fire pit.
We'll move the 55 out by the pool, and then put something bigger.
I'm trying to help Kim out here. Don't you see?
I know you're trying. I know what you're trying to do. That's not how it works. Tennessee man. Matrix 4. That looks pretty good, I think.
Yeah, that looks awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I want to see that. But our kids are wanting to see Spider-Man, so it's in the theaters too. So we'll probably go see that one.
All right. I don't think I've seen the trailers properly. So this is not your typical re-envisioning of Spider-Man. This is something where like a whole bunch of villains pop up out of some next dimension and they all come back to life because of Spider-Man or something. What is this? What is the premise of this?
Yeah, it's talking about the multiverse. They're trying to tie all this stuff together in the adjacent timelines and all this other craziness, and bring Iron Man back in the series and all this. Captain America. They're going to bring all this stuff back around. Maybe different characters playing them, stuff like that, different timelines, different areas. So it's a lot of confusion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's cool because it's Marvel. So.
In other words, Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to stay dead and wanted to keep making money off Iron Man, right?
Well, I've heard that he's not going to be Iron Man. If they're actually casting somebody else to play Iron Man in the future movies, that's rumor mill. So I guess it depends on. I guess we'll see is the answer to that. But from what I've understood, he's not coming back. But I don't know. Somebody may know more than me, so we may.
I'm sure Lisa knows.
One that we just watched that I had not even heard of until I was looking at YouTube is New Guy with Ryan Reynolds.
I've seen the previews, but I haven't
seen the movie.
It is a fun. My wife jokes that she's not sure who likes Ryan Reynolds more, me or her, but it is fun. It is funny. It is heartwarming. It is a really, really good movie. And I think we watched it on Prime for like $3 or something. And I highly, highly recommend it. It is a sleeper of a movie and just really, really good-hearted movie.
So do you think his character would be more like it was in The Proposal with Sandra Bullock, or will it be more like The Hitman's Bodyguard with Samuel L. Jackson?
Okay, I love The Hitman's Bodyguard. I think he is, well, okay. And the other one that he's in recently with The Rock and Gal Gadot is Red Notice, which also was a really good movie. I thought was a good movie. But he plays just kind of this guy that is in the background until he isn't, and then he adapts quite well. But it was just a really, and we don't watch a lot of the Marvel type movies and things like that. And when I put this on, I kind of thought, I don't know how this is going to go. And then it worked out fantastic. So good movie.
Anna, are we losing you? These are, a lot of these movies are like R and stuff like that. Are you able to watch those?
Yes. I'm not that into, the Marvel and those. Although I do enjoy, I've seen, Iron Man and all of that, but those aren't my go-to. They're kind of like the ones I'll go if I'm invited. If my husband wants to go see those, I'll go. So.
All right. Sounds like we need to talk to your husband.
Well, my boys have both seen the Spider-Man. They both liked it. So they just saw it the other day.
All right. Very nice. Very nice.
Since we cut the cable, we've been trying to get through Christmas without the Hallmark movies. So fortunately Netflix has some good ones, but.
Well, I can tell you this. We have avoided Hallmark as well, but Up TV seems to have all the new Hallmark style movies. So when I've come home, the TV has been on Up TV quite a lot.
YouTube TV has the Hallmark channel.
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been watching Seinfeld.
Which one was it that was the offensive one? Was it Hallmark or Lifetime that was?
Lifetime. And even worse is the Learning Channel, which I don't know where they get. What's that?
TLC?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that channel?
She's like,
some of the series they have on there. It's kind of because isn't that the one where they have like 90 Day Fiance?
That's like my favorite show on earth.
Okay, so 90 Day Fiance was good the first couple of years. I can't watch the regular shows, but we watch the Pillow Talk versions.
Okay.
There's also the Sister Wives is on TLC, and My 600-Pound Wife, and all those crazy shows.
The Pill Popper or the Pimple Popper.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then the 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Oh yeah.
And I just watch them all. And I've been watching a lot of HBO Max. I subscribed to that last summer and just to watch The Sopranos because I was in a binge, I needed to binge something. And after that, I was like, I'll just keep it. Now I'm watching Sex and the City, and that's been depressing.
Yes. I heard it's not good.
I mean, it's like
Binge watching Yellowstone.
Oh.
That's really good. I'm not a cowboy type of movie type of guy, but Yellowstone's actually really good. So
didn't that Costner guy, didn't he get beat up or killed or something?
Beat up. But the prequel, 1883, was actually having a world premiere in our hotel when we were in Vegas 2 weeks ago. So all those people were in our hotel.
Yeah, we got to see Jimmy from the series,
and Sam Elliott was
Elliott.
there. They were doing podcasts, and you could see them through the glass. It's pretty cool.
You want to reach down there next to your dog and pick up those names you dropped? Sam Elliott, that dude, man, I didn't think he was still acting, but he looks the same.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, we started watching the 1883 series. It's more
older Western.
Older Western, so it's kind of like but it's actually good. So
Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and
yeah, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. What was the other guy?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, and then
Tom Hanks is the other guy.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton was in it. So it's like, hey, there's Billy Bob. So, yeah, so it's just all these characters are showing up. I wasn't expecting Tom Hanks in that movie either, or in the series, whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
Okay. I just started rewatching The Sopranos because I'd watched Saints of New Jersey or whatever the movie was, and then they played the theme song for The Sopranos at the end. It's like, oh,
I know.
Man, I got to watch that again. So I started rewatching that series.
I've only binged it twice, but the first time was in like 2007 after it was already done, and I didn't have HBO, so I watched all the Netflix. Remember on the old DVDs that you had to order?
Yeah, you could order them. Yeah.
I had the whole series in the queue. So every time I got 3, I'd watch them and send them back every time. And then this summer I was like, oh man, it was just so awesome to watch it again. It just brought back the memories and feeling the characters. And then I started watching a bunch of YouTubes with the Sopranos guys who are doing the podcast since the pandemic. And that's been a lot of fun. I like it.
Kind of along the lines of what we do. Have any of you seen *Halt and Catch Fire*?
I've never gotten into it, but I've seen it.
I watched the whole series, and it was hard for it to end. I mean, they really, it was hard at the beginning. It was kind of hard to get going, but then once I started watching it, and you saw the parallels of compact computers and so on with the characters that they had in there. They did a good job. I ended up binging that whole series, and at the end, it's kind of like, now what do I do? I was a little depressed that it was over. But
so I have a hard time getting into shows like that because I always find that they don't really capture the tech industry the way that they should. So did that do a good job of that, or?
I think it did a pretty good job of, a lot of it was how the bulletin boards, they started with computers, but then they moved into, dial-in and bulletin boards and all that. And then, the internet, and just kind of, how that grew and some of the challenges that they ran into and so on. I thought that they addressed fairly well in that.
All right. Now, Millers, I don't know if you're staying through the third segment here. So before we move on, there was a tech question asked in the chat. And since this is a technology show, let us get that question. Jason, have you started using the UDM Pro, or are you still staying away from it? So I assume there's a little pre-story to that.
Yeah. I've talked before about the UDM series. The UDM on LiQWYD, for people that don't know, have a built-in cloud key or controller in the unit itself. We host our own controllers in the cloud for all of our LiQWYD gear, and we actually have 3 different servers with all the devices we have. But UDMs you cannot add to your own hosted controller because they have their own controller built in. So we stayed away from them just because of that. I feel more like the UDMs are like a prosumer device. I know people use them in small businesses and stuff like that, but typically we use Sonic walls for our clients. So we don't usually use a lot of LiQWYD's firewall products. For like a small client or hotel or something like that, we'll end up using USG or USG Pro or something like that. If they're not a managed client, we're okay using their LiQWYD firewall products if they don't want to spend the money for a Sonic wall. But managed clients, we don't let them use any kind of LiQWYD firewall. And then, like in my house, I didn't use a UDM Pro. I used a UXG Pro, which UXG is basically the kind of like a UDM, but it's enterprise firewall that you can actually attach to a cloud controller. So that's what we use there, and it's basically better processor RAM, all that good stuff, more speed and stuff, and then these UDMs, and then you can attach it to a cloud controller and do everything from there. We've got about 3 of the UXG Pros deployed, and they work well. So,
all right. So Giles, you're going to order like 10 of those in the next week, I understand, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to get some of those right now.
Yeah. She's like, what's this guy even talking about? It's like all this stuff. Yeah.
But notice how her logistical question response was that, I don't think they're available right now.
Yeah. The UXG Pros are about $500 a piece, so they're fairly expensive. Firewalls for Ubiquity anyway. It's not like a Sonic Wall. Those are much more expensive, but they're touted as enterprise, but they're nowhere near a Sonic Wall. So
we have a UDM Pro at my husband's clinic, and it's good for that. It's it's got the cameras, got Protect, and
that's what they got going for them. Is it's all in one device, so it's cheaper to buy that. But like at my house, I bought the UXG Pro, I bought the switch, I bought the NVR, so everything's separate. If I want to replace a router, I can replace a router. And then same thing for a couple of larger, like we did a VA campus wireless deployment. We're using a UXG Pro there just for the simple fact of it's just public Wi-Fi. It doesn't have to be heavily filtered or anything. We're using a DNS filtering product on top of it. But it can handle all the traffic. It has a 10 gig port because we have major fiber backbone coming into that place. So it really helped out in getting the internet and stuff like that. And 2, it's all cloud managed, so you can tell when stuff's up and down. Really cool stuff. But UDM, nothing wrong with it. I'm not anti-UDM Pro by no means. For somebody who beats me up on Facebook, but I just don't personally use them because for our clients, we have a process like to streamline things, like to put it all in one controller to where we can get alerts to our ticketing system. If you have a bunch of those things everywhere, then you have to set up alerts on every single one of these things. It's just too much. So for us anyways. So.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you. That will conclude our technical portion of the evening. So for those of you that tuned in live, or if you're listening back and you've gotten your tech fill, that was it. So guys, I want to thank you. This is going to conclude our second portion of the evening, but feel free to stay through if you'd like. And we just finished up with Jason and Rachel Miller, Diana Giles, Mike Panaki, and Lisa Hendrickson. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be a little musical interlude, and it's gonna be a little lengthy here because I had planned to use this as a bathroom break. So if you are listening through audio playback, you'll be cut over to the audio on the next podcast there. Those of you watching live here or on the playback video, just stay through here and we will be right back. And guys, thank you again. And if you stay, we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Podnuts Pro. This is part 3 of our 2021 holiday podcast. And if you've listened to the previous 2 parts, we are continually joined here by Jason Miller and Diana Giles. Guys, thank you for hanging out. We've got a couple of other people that have popped into the green room here, but we'll get them on in just a second. And Jason, you all right there? You settled?
I'm settled. Sorry. That's
Right.
trying to get my chair unstuck from the desk. So
okay. Is the diva done? Is she gone?
yeah, got to put the kids in bed and all that good stuff. So not bed, but get them showers and bed and all that good jazz. So
we'll talk about her then. So, all right. So let's see here. Giles, you're hanging with us through the night? Sweet.
As long as it said you're in the show, and so I didn't want to move because it said people could see me.
All right. Well, if you want me to boot you, I will. But
while you're deciding, to be here as long as you want.
All right. So let's go ahead and bring in our next guest. He was a newcomer to the podcast this year. He has his own podcast, Home Gadget Geeks. He is a fellow podcaster. He is a tech junkie and knows a lot more about home gadgets than I do. He is Jim Collison with Gallup. Jim, how are you?
Hey, Marv. Good to see you. Good to be here.
All right. You are in your usual position.
Yeah, I'm a little intimidated by all this enterprise chat that you guys got going on here.
Yeah, too much for the UDM Pro and the
Sonic it's a little much at times. I'm kind of more on the home side, but it's good to hear what the other side is doing.
All right. Well, some of that enterprise stuff can trickle down into the home.
Yeah, I hope not. It gets too complicated. Actually, I live in a world. I started on a home server show where all we talked about is building home servers and home storage and all those good things. And a lot of the enterprise, we would grab from the enterprise to bring it down, and it just gets so complicated. It doesn't. I don't know. For the average consumer, they just kind of go. When you talk to them, they're just like, I can't do this. So we try to focus a little bit more on kind of the average consumer products.
All right. So the trouble that I've had is to go the other way, where I've looked at trying to do the other NAS drives, not the, HP, SANs, the Synology NASs, looked at True NAS and looked at that other one you introduced me to. The name escapes me right now.
Synology or QNAP or?
No.
Oh, Unraid?
Unraid, yes.
Yeah.
I actually I took an old Datto box enterprise and tried to do Unraid to it, which it worked, except I couldn't connect it to Active Directory. I couldn't do a bunch of stuff. And
that surprises me a little bit. I bet there's a Docker out there for Active Directory.
There's a whole nother Docker. See, that's again not something I'm not familiar with.
Listen, the Unraid community is a little bit out of control. They are a really active open source community that if you challenge them to say, hey, can you do this on Unraid, they figure out a way to get it done. So that is, anytime we podcast on Unraid, my numbers just go through the roof. That is a gigantic community.
All right. Well, I did reach out to the gentleman that is in charge of Unraid, and he said that he would help me once I got time to, set up the box, update the software, and do all that. I haven't had the time, and 2, I'm thinking this guy is just going to kill me.
No, they're a nice community.
You don't belong here.
No. They are a nice community. Listen, I don't belong there, just to be honest. And they're a super nice community. With Unraid, you can be I have a totally simple setup with Unraid, a little bit of storage, multiple drives, doing some things. You can do that, or you can, Uyghur, my co-host on there, Mike Uyghur, he's in on everything. So with Unraid, you can kind of be simple. You can be very complex. It goes either way.
All right. Well, before we put you on the hot seat even more, I'm going to bring in one more person here who's been sitting in the chat. And it looks like he's in a dark room, but he has been on the show before as well, part of my peer group that I don't know if we're meeting. I don't think we've met once in 2021. But Matt Foreman from the local circuit. Matt, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am good, sir. What are you, did they relegate you to the back patio?
Well, I'm in my bedroom.
Okay.
We sold our house, and we're in a rent house right now while we are building our new home, and I don't have an office anymore. And we have a few bedrooms short of what we need, so I'm as far away from the noise as possible.
I was going to say, she's not in the bed trying to, ask you to stay quiet, is she?
No, not right now.
All right. Well, if you need any home building tips, the Millers just built themselves a house.
Good deal. Yeah, we just got our foundation down. They're fixing to start putting up the steel because we're building a barn dominium. So they're going to start on Monday. So we're moving along.
A barn dominium.
Barn dominium. That's it is one large building that's got a house and a giant shop, and it gets the name from people renovating a barn into a condominium. So they just merge the names together, and so it's kind of one of the things they do here in the country. So we kind of put our barn and our house all together in one big building, and that's what we're doing.
So is that where you walk in? It's a big open space in the middle, and when you go upstairs, you actually got kind of like a loft-looking thing where there's a railway, hallway stuff, and the bedrooms are all. Is that kind of what it is?
I guess if you had a little bit more money than I do, you could do that. But yeah, we've got just one big grand room, as we call it. It's kind of the living room and the kitchen. It's just ours is going to be an L shape. So straight down is all living, kind of a communal area, and then the bedrooms and stuff down there, and then the kickoff on the L is one big 1,600 square foot shop for me to build things and break things and park my toys.
All right, because I was going to say, that's not going to be your new office that you just moved last year, right?
Nope, no, we're happy where we're at. This is too far out in the country to get good internet, so can't work from home too terribly much.
All right. Now, so building houses seems to be a trend. Miller, you built your house. Chad, who was on early, built his house. I will probably never build a house. Giles or Jim, have either of you, did you guys build your houses?
Yes, but it was almost 20 years ago.
You did.
So. We survived.
Never.
All right.
That's too much work.
Yeah,
it's too much drama. It's always, it's just, there's always, everybody I've watched do it gets done and like, man, I'd never do this again. And so I'm like, well, why do it in the first place? I'll just take somebody else's, what somebody else has built.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that the draw is that you can, customize everything to the way that you want. But I always find that people that do that, once they move in, they're like, oh, you know what, I shouldn't have built it this way. Now, Josh, you've been in your place, 20 years. What have you found, in terms of things that you did that you wish you hadn't have done, or did you just make modifications? How's that been?
Yeah, I wish we had built the closets in our bedroom bigger. We each have our own closets, but they're pretty small.
Yeah. Well, 20 years ago, closets were much different than what we have now.
Yeah, so they're pretty small, but I mean, there's little things here and there that I wish we had done different, but overall, that's good. My husband is much better at thinking through all that stuff and really visualizing everything, and he was really more involved in the floor plan and all of that. So he thought a lot about the lighting and the electrical, and we had it, even back then. Cat 5 cable, throughout, and so.
Nice. Now, Jason, if I remember correctly, closet is not an issue with you guys.
No.
I believe you built a room for Rachel.
A room? No. I mean, our closet in our master bedroom, I don't know, it's probably like 8 feet wide by 16 feet long or something. I mean, it's a big closet.
Yeah, that's a spare bedroom for most of us.
Yeah, you can make a nursery out of it for sure. I mean, but no, the closets in this house, and it's not like we purposely did that. This layout of this plan that we picked already had the closets that huge, and our house has 2 master bedrooms, and the second master bedroom on the second level has 2 closets, probably 8 by 10 closets or something like that. So they're pretty good size walk-in closets. Even our kids are, I don't know, probably 6 by 10. I mean, houses nowadays have bigger closets. I mean, even our last house had decent sized closets. So I can't complain there. So.
Yeah, but see, where you guys live, it's much different. Florida, you know, most of these houses were built when it was just simply a vacation area. Mm-hmm. People would come down, retire. So they didn't build big houses.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and cost of living here is a lot less too, and the cost of building houses is a lot less. I mean,
true.
We had a client move from California, and $1.1 million is what he sold his house for, and it was 1,200 square feet. We didn't pay that for this house, and we got almost 5,000 square feet. So I mean, it's like huge difference in sizes of houses and the cost of living and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a huge difference, I guess you'd say. Land's cheaper, a lot of what you're paying for in these big cities and metropolitan areas are land. I mean, it's expensive, and even for like a quarter of an acre or something, but it's not that expensive here. We got plenty of it. So
yeah, we don't have a lot of land here. Our neighbors are pretty much right on top of us, and we'll have empty lots. So we're east. So just to give everybody an idea, we are 4.4 miles from the beach, which is close enough that she can go when she wants, but far enough that we don't have to deal with, beach traffic and spring breakers and that sort of stuff. We're on the west side of 95, which 10 years ago, that would have been great for insurance purposes because we would have not been in a flood zone, or we would not have been in a first level evacuation zone. They've changed all of that. So we are now in a flood zone. So our insurance has gone up about $1,000 a year because of that. And because we were west of 95, we actually paid about 300 grand less than literally, 100 yards on the other side of 95. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy.
You don't need flood insurance here. We're on a hill. If it floods, we need an arc, not flood insurance. So I mean, it's huge hills and mountains here. So I mean,
yeah.
Right. Florida, I can definitely see you're paying a lot for being nice weather and beach is I'm sure what you're paying for. So
absolutely. All right, so Jim, I saw you had a beverage there. What is your beverage of choice this evening?
It's Christmas time. You got to drink Shiner Christmas Cheer.
Oh, hang on, let me
or holiday cheer, I guess. I want to call it Christmas cheer for whatever reason, but so Shiner holiday cheer is the tradition on Home Gadget Geeks. We every Christmas, that's their beer out of Texas. Just reminds me of Christmas. It's always good. This is my last one, and they're hard to find this time of year. They sell out pretty fast. So,
Matt, is that a beer that you know?
Yes, very, very familiar with Shiner.
All right. Well, Jim, meet Matt. Matt lives in Texas. I'm sure he can help you procure some.
He's probably right next to the brewery, I would imagine.
Not really far, but yeah, no shortage around here for that anyway.
Yeah, we enjoy Shiner up here in Nebraska.
All right. So, guys, let me ask this. I asked the last group, if they had any special holiday traditions, and we went around there and we talked about holiday movies. Let me just ask, is there anything that you remember as kind of like your favorite Christmas memory growing up? Or do you want to answer holiday trivia?
Growing up, I mean, it was, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's a great thing, but the holidays for us was just travel. I mean, that's what when I think about, I mean, yes, there's the family stuff and whatnot, but when I think back on that, it's traveling. I mean, that's what we did. We were so spread out that that's just what honestly the holiday brings to mind for me, unfortunately, growing up. But yeah, I mean, I just loved spending time with my grandparents growing up, especially when you're separated and get that time together with them.
All right, Jim.
Yeah, first Christmas away from home. I was 18. I was in the military. I got stationed in Schweinfurt, Germany. And we watched Christmas Eve. So there was a group of us, you're far away from home. And so there was a group of us that got together on Christmas Eve, and we watched White Christmas. And if you know that movie, at the end, they're waiting for snow. And at the end, it snows. And somebody, no kidding, I'm not making this up. Somebody goes, "It's snowing outside." It is during that part. And we were like, all right, whatever. But sure enough, it snowed. It started snowing right at the end of that movie. And we all went out, and it was one of those magical moments. I mean, Christmas in Germany is pretty great. Like, they really do a nice job of celebrating that in Europe. And it was just magical. And so it was those, if I think about Christmas, that's one of those Christmases far away from home, but it was pretty magical with it snowing at the end of White Christmas.
All right, Giles, I know that you kind of answered this at the last time. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Probably when I was really little and we'd go to Texas to my grandparents, and my dad took the Santa thing pretty seriously, and he would kind of go all out as far as there were footprints made of ash on the carpet, and the fireplace doors were ajar, and so that was fun.
Okay. And Jason, I hesitate to ask you because I'm sure that with the kids at the age that they're at, you're going to have a ton more memories. But what's it been like so far?
It's been great. Yeah, I mean, just the enjoyment on their faces. I'm a very big family guy, so family is the most important thing to me when it comes to holidays and Christmases and any other holidays. But especially Christmas time, I love. I was telling my wife, I think it's actually earlier today. I was like, man, I'm excited for Christmas just to watch the kids. It's like watch them not only open presents, but just kind of that wonder in their eyes and stuff like that. Our kids are only 10 and 11, so they're still young enough to where everything's cool, and it's just enjoyment, of the family getting together. And of course, we do the thing with, at the grandmother's house, and then we do our thing on Christmas Day. So it's a lot of family time, which I enjoy a lot. And our family gets along like some people's families like to fight, but ours gets along very good. So even ex-family members all come together in one big meal and get together and everything. It's kind of cool. So yeah, it's just enjoyment of family time is what's the most or best part for me as far as memories and things like that. So
all right. So our family, we don't fight. We just sit around and don't talk. That's right. And during Thanksgiving, I watch football while they go shopping. And Christmas, what did we do last Christmas? I think I looked for movies on TV. So we do have the dinner together. And we've, now that my one sister has nephews, and then my other sister, they've adopted, or they will be adopting some children. So we end up having to do stuff where we entertain the kids. So my job is to assist in entertaining the kids. And sometimes it's fun. They're at that age where sometimes they like to do things over and over and over. And you're like, okay, enough already. It's like a dog chasing a bone. It's just, you got the bone. You don't have to keep chasing it again.
Yeah. One of my favorite memories is my nephew, before we had kids, he got a pair of pajamas for Christmas. You get your traditional Christmas pajamas so you can wear on the bed for Santa to come. Anyways, we wrapped those pajamas, I think, about 8 different times. He would pull them out and was like all surprised and everything. And then he'd turn around, we put them back in it was like a gift bag. So we put them back in the gift bag. We got you another present. And then he'd open it again. He's all excited again, like he didn't even open them, So he was probably like 4 or 5, So it was just amazing watching craziness like that. But yeah.
Oh my. That sounds pretty cool, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, to watch you talking about doing things over and over and over again is not fun. I thought it was fun. So
but I'm sure he was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to have like 8 pairs of pajamas. How come I only have 1?
No, when they're little, they don't even know. It's like, come on. So it's just fun to unwrap. So they just want to rip stuff open, So
yeah.
One of the big traditions in the Collison house has been to Legos, and my kids still beg. I mean, they're 30s. I mean, they're in their 20s and 30s now, and they still want Lego sets to put together Christmas Day. They come over, and so that's a big tradition. After we get the gifts open, everything kind of clears out, and then Legos get put together. So it's amazing how that they did that 20 years ago, and they want to do it today.
That's cool.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. So if I ever get a present from the Millers, I'm going to double check to make sure it's not a regift. That's how I'm going to. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Well, folks, we can talk as long as we want, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our third segment here. I am going to say, as I mentioned at the end of the last segment, that this has been a fantastic year for the podcast. Not only, do I feel good completing the 5th full year, but the fact that we've had so many new people on the show. We've had not only new guests, as Jim is one here for the first time this year, but a lot of new vendors in the channel reached out and wanted to be a part. So I think that going forward, it will be a great and wonderful thing to have a new group of people to bring back on the show and get updates and help us all in our businesses and in our careers. And I will say this.
Before we go, can I just say thank you for coming on my show? You were a new addition. We've kind of, jammed Home Gadget Geeks and Podnuts Pro together from a audience standpoint. I found you and I said, man, you'd be great for my audience, because I have a lot of my audience does what you guys talk about. And so thanks for coming on, and I think you came back even a second time. So thanks for saying yes, and appreciate you doing what you do for the community and pulling all this together. So thank you for what you do. It's congratulations on 5 years. That's a big deal.
All right. Well, thank you again for asking me, and it was a great time on the show. And as we talked about, I look forward to doing it again. So like I said, guys, stay with me through the break here. I'm going to go ahead and end off the official podcast audio version here. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that have listened to the show over the years, I thank you very much. I appreciate not the fact that you listen, but the fact that you communicate and give me feedback. Let me know what we're doing good. Let me know what we're doing bad to make things better. And I look forward to continuing that next year in 2022. There are big plans for the podcast. Can't say them just yet, but as we come back in the new year, I think you're going to be very happy with what happens down the road. So on behalf of everyone that has joined us here tonight, from the original people in Group 1, Don Sizer, of course, Jason and Rachel Miller, Chad Kempt, Dinah Giles, Mike Benaki, Lisa Hendrickson, and finishing up here with us, Jim Collison and Matt Foreman. Thank you again very much for a very wonderful year. I look forward to being a part of everybody's podcatcher series next year. That's going to do it. We'll see you next year. And until then, holla.